Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Welcome back to Valorant News on a crazy day once again in the Valorant world. Some unbelievable matches in the VCT Masters we shall dive into here in a few minutes time, but also Sinatraa, after revealing an email that Riot sent to him after his unbanning, they've now responded, forcing him to complete some further training. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. Really upset the channel, crazy support the last few days. Firstly, wanted to mention this from Liquid Soulcast, mentions that there's a very interesting bug right now in this current patch update that they are playing on at Masters, where if you run Breach, a Sova dart you don't get the notification you're going to get spotted when it hits you. This seemingly is only for Breach. If you play Breach, you're going to get spotted more easily and don't realize it's coming. So this is very interesting actually. Basically people are saying, look, don't run Breach right now because it's broken when Sova's on the other team. So maybe players at Masters are going to have to realize this, or they're going to have to do some sort of like hotfix or something, which might happen over the coming days. But that was pretty interesting. Not seen that before, to be honest. Wanted to say this as well real quick, because 100 Thieves, they confirmed their roster yesterday that we looked at, and that seemingly 100 Thieves will retain their 15 circuit points and their bye to the round of 32. From where they placed in kind of stage 1, they get to a bye of round of 32 in the open qualifier for stage 2, and well, the same kind of thing is for FaZe, right? They get the Shanks Superman Poise situation. Even if Shanks doesn't play per sources, they still kind of have acquired that bye to the round of 32, giving themselves a better chance to get all the way through there to challenges for stage 2 in the North American side. They're certainly, of course, going to want to do that one. So this we looked at yesterday from Sinatraa. He actually, put publicly on Twitter what they'd emailed him on January the 12th, 2022 from Riot Games, effectively saying, and we looked at this briefly yesterday, you are now fully eligible to sign up and play in VCT. For additional context, the training was supposed to focus on cooperating with investigations. However, we feel like you would already know most of the information covered in this training. So rather interesting that Sinatraa actually, came out and said this, or posted this publicly, that Riot had told him he had to do this certain training, right, because he wasn't particularly cooperative and misrepresented facts, and they've kind of said that a couple of times when he was initially banned, and then they didn't actually force him to do the training, and he just says this publicly that, like, Riot told me to do it, but they actually never forced me to do it. So Riot's come up with a follow-up statement last night to this, which it does just make you think about Riot, doesn't it? Because just the way they've handled this, it seems that internally they have a rather different stance to what they do from a public perspective. So, as they come out and say, we've informed Mr. One, that being Sinatraa, that contrary to that communication, and in accordance with the competitive ruling, he is required to undergo professional conduct training. We have begun working with Mr. One to complete his training. The training will focus on conducting oneself as a professional, complying with rules and regulations, and complying with investigations. So I have no idea what this training even involves, whether it's really going to change his mind or change his actions on anything, right? Because let's just say it doesn't seem overly strenuous, and it seems like they were just going to waive it anyway, because as he says here, like, pretty much, we think you kind of already know this stuff that's in the training, right? As just like a normal human being or a professional player, you're probably going to understand a lot of the stuff they're going to tell you, but they're going to force him to do it anyway, which of course makes sense. If you're going to tell him that he's got to do this training, and then like kind of behind the scenes you're like, okay, actually we don't really care, just because this isn't going to come out publicly, then it does come out publicly, and like I said, okay, actually no, we will make him do the training, sorry guys, like just unbelievable stuff. So, he's saying that they take all claims seriously from the right perspective, all this type of stuff, and we know Riot Games aren't exactly, they don't have the greatest tenure with regard to sexual assault allegations, let's just say. And this actually from Uber Shouts, he says the following: it is extremely concerning that before this email went out, Riot were willing to waive the mandatory training. Not about the training itself, but it's about the principle. Being so blasé about enforcing their own guidelines in the face of very severe allegations doesn't particularly send a good message. They're kind of willing to, brush it off behind the scenes, but, in public, when it becomes, public knowledge, all of a sudden they're going to kind of stamping the fist down here. So interesting stuff. Just final word on it, really, because if this is the only follow-up implication right here, that he does have to complete this mandatory training, then, despite all the backlash of the last few days, probably there will be no further restriction to an organization signing Sinatraa back as a professional player. We've heard the rumors the last few days that Sentinels might be considering bringing him back onto the starting team in place of Zoms and swapping the roles around a little bit. This also, just to mention real quick, because yesterday it was, Nitro, of course, has gone back to Evil Genius's CSGO. They've been having a torrid time over there. I'm pretty sure they failed to qualify for the major or whatever through the RMRs. Has been some questions about that. I believe Stewie2K was clear that he does want to continue competing on in CSGO, but guys like Breezy on that team and Nitro, who knows, right? Like, could some part of that squad come into the Valorant side? It's a possibility. Angel's doing some pretty funny trash talk right here, of course, former CSGO player. I believe he was the IGL for, Hellraisers for a few years. Just imagine leaving Valorant with all these agents, strategies, dozens of skill, which creates insane team play to hold beyond Mirage. So kind of saying maybe some of these guys that went should come back after their failure, but I suppose we'll see on that front. This also from Pura and also from JC Stani on Gen.G. They're joining the squad after JC Stani, of course, released some 100 Thieves a couple of weeks ago. They have also made some significant direction, brought in Stella as their IG IGL as we looked at yesterday. These guys are going to be part of Gen.G's new program. Let's dive into the VCT games from yesterday then. So this is kind of incredible. PaperX versus DRX, match history past 3 months. Like, look how clean these records are, right? Best of 5s, best of 3s, doesn't matter. These guys are winning regardless. Very solid teams. Obviously, PRX, I guess, versus DRX. Who would come out on top? Like, Indonesian, Malaysian, Singaporean team versus the Korean guys in DRX. DRX very impressive to me, but you know, PaperX certainly put up a great fight as well. The thing is with PaperX to me is that they won some great rounds. They played great at times, but they just made way too many mistakes, to be honest, in certain crucial situations. This actually was kind of crazy though. Game 1 here on Haven, we had Reyna got utilized for the first time in this tournament. I believe that both Reyna, Yoru, and Phoenix were the 3 agents not yet used going into this series. Reyna was used game 1, Yoru was used game 2, and this is an unbelievable play here from Ying to close out this game. Using Reyna at her very best. Like, Reyna's so much fun to watch on yeah, this type of level. Like, honestly, just absolutely phenomenal stuff. So anyway, 13-10 game 1 goes in the favor of PaperX. Great result for them. Of course, these guys got to buy straight through. DRX had to fight through the kind of the first qualifiers that we saw them succeed in. They win the game 1, and then Forsaken, not the OpTic India Forsaken from a couple of years ago, brings out Yoru on the second game. That doesn't really work out in their favor too well. Like a 1 versus 4 ace clutch here for Stacked. There were certainly a few moments where PaperX kind of threw away advantages that they had, and I mean, yeah, they definitely took advantage of it. DRX, I'm very impressed by DRX in general. The aim, the kind of coordination, the team play has been fantastic for these guys. PaperX, of course, a very solid squad as well, but I feel like DRX can really make a run in this tourney. I think the next round they play the winner of OpTic versus the Guards. We'll talk about that series here in a second. They win the game 2, do DRX, they close this one out. Like a Mako as well was a phenomenal player for these guys this series. They close out the binds, they take it to a game 3, and DRX close out this one as well. It goes to Ascent. The first 5 rounds all go in their favor. Benkai finally bounces back here with a, well, Sheriff through the wall to great effect. I mean, look at this, honestly, just absolutely fantastic stuff for the Sheriff. They finally win a round, but it doesn't really help them down the long haul. 1 versus 3 for Benkai keeps them alive in the series, but in the end, DRX just had a little bit too much. So very impressive teams, I thought. Like, it's just great to see these regions battle it out at times, but it's really difficult to call how these are going to go. But DRX continue their rampage and they move onwards. I think a lot of people are actually saying right now that DRX could be one of the favorite teams to even get to the finals at this event, or not even go one step further. 2-1 to DRX over the course of it. PaperX dropped down to the lower bracket. Ying minus 15, but so much impact. Mako, Buzz leading the way on the other side. Haven 13-10 in PaperX's favor. Then the next 2 go for DRX. 13-8 on Bind, 13-8 on Ascent. To close out a relatively comfortable series, Buzz and Mako just dominating the final map. There's no doubt about it. Let's talk about the final series of the day then. The Guard versus OpTic. The rematch for the kind of Challengers playoffs, grand finals we saw not long ago. That was a best of 5. The Guard won it in 5 maps. An unbelievable series. To me, OpTic was slight favourites just because they had more LAN experience, more experience on stage. These guys, of course, on the Guard, very new to it indeed. Maybe we saw that right towards the end of this series, but just another phenomenal series between these two teams. So much fun to watch them play. Early on, though, I was kind of thinking, wow, OpTic might just steamroll them this series, because Ye was on another level. Like, this guy is, honestly, on Icebox especially, he is an absolute cheat code. Look at this ace. He gets this ace, and then a few rounds later, he just gets some more ridiculous kills. Like, look at this. The shots are just impeccable. He just does not decide to miss. He's just, okay, kill this guy as well. Finishes off the ace as well with the Bulldog. Like, just unbelievable. This was round 2 of the game, setting the scene. Like, Ye on Icebox is just, he's going to guarantee you, like, I mean, how many free rounds do you want from Ye every single game? He's going to give you at least, like, 3-4 rounds just by himself on this map, which is probably going to be enough to close out this game. But anyway, OpTic win this half 9-3. Then all of a sudden, they literally, I'm pretty sure they went B every single round on their offensive side. Like, some interesting calls actually from FNS. This also I thought was a quite interesting statement from Zelsis. Ye is what people think TenZ is. This got quite a lot of traction. But something, you know, genuinely, when you watch Ye play, it's like, wow, how is this guy not the best player in the world? Like, he's got to be right up there, no? It does generally seem like he's a cheat code at times. It's phenomenal what this guy does on a consistent basis, especially on Icebox. The other 2 maps weren't quite so pretty, but they still got the job done in the end. But yeah, they win this map 13-7. It was getting kind of sketchy because the first, 4 rounds of the defensive side were all won by the Guards, and then OpTic just decided, okay, we're just going to keep going B again and again and again, and eventually they won the next 4 rounds in a row and take this series, or take this first map 13-7. So was some good adjustments, I thought, from the OpTic guys. FNS played great this series as well, but game 2 did not go in their favor. Like, Victor made, this was a ridiculous round here actually as well, where absolute chaos over towards the C side. Marv trying to hold things down, and then Victor comes in for the back and gets 2 kills, I'm pretty sure, without even realizing it. Like, look at this, 1-2. I'm pretty sure he didn't even mean to get the second. That's 4-4, and there were some insane plays actually he made with the Neon ult in this game. Neon seeing used was pretty fun as well, but the Guard actually closed out the rest of this game pretty emphatically actually. They win this half 7-5 on their offensive side, then they go into defense, where OpTic really couldn't get all that much going. They lose this game in the ends. A 4K from Net on the defense closes out this game 13-7, and well, there we go. OpTic 1-1 in the series. This is the map that the Guard won in the game 5, I believe, when they beat OpTic in the Challengers finals they had on the North American side, when these two teams got confirmed to be going to Masters. We go all the way to a game 3, and this game 3 here was on Fracture. The Guard again had a great start. Like, this is a map that's generally, the offensive side is pretty good, right, because there's so much you can do on offense on this map compared to what defense has to offer. They have to spread themselves very thin, and an 8-4 half after Sideplay got some crazy stuff done was seemingly very good for the Guard on their defensive side. They actually win the first 2 rounds as well. They win the pistol. They go up 10-4 in this game, but all of a sudden Marv and Co start making a comeback. This was such a crucial round right here. Like, the Brimstone comes through, the ultimate comes through, and they turn this 4 versus 2 into a 2 versus 2, and all of a sudden they win this round as well. This was huge for OpTic. The momentum switch here, the 1v1 as well for Mars was absolutely incredible. And yeah, 10-4 becomes 10-6, and all of a sudden the game's getting very close indeed. And then OpTic really had the momentum. That's the thing. I feel like the Guards, maybe a bit more experience, they probably find a way to close this game out. But OpTic, I was really impressed even that the Guards put up this much of a battle, right? Kind of their first big stage match like this. They played phenomenally. Sire player on this final map just needed some help, to be honest. He was out of control. He had so many phenomenal moments. But OpTic made the crazy one on their defensive side. They win every single round pretty much for a while. They avoid taking it to overtime, and OpTic advance over the Guard in this series. A crazy series again at 2-1-0 for the Guards. They will drop down to the losers bracket. They play on later today again. But I was impressed by both of these teams, no doubt. I think both of them can make a run in the tournament. It would be unfortunate if we don't get to see a rematch at some point or another, right? But no guarantees of that one, of course. But yeah, OpTic move on. Incredible performance from those guys. 2-1 versus the Guard says, yeah, it'll be better on Fracture and Haven in the future. But yeah, this guy on Icebox is obviously absolutely absurd. And that's the thing. If Side just had some help on that final map, he would have been in a greater position to win it. But you can see the final stats actually right here. Sire plus 29 over the series. Map 1 Icebox Gaze 23-12. Standard stuff. Haven, it was Sire player who took over at 23-8 on the Jet. And then game 3 Fracture went 13-11 in favour of OpTic in the end. But yeah, Sire was again 27-16. So this guy was honestly doing it all. Fair play to FNS as well on the breach here. 21-16. Top fragging for OpTic this final game, the IGL. He got them over the line. And now this is the bracket we are looking at for the remainder of the tournament. So today we get the lower bracket games. Zeta versus Team Liquid. That will determine the first team that goes out. Then Paper Rex versus the Guards. Very exciting series. I'm going to take Liquid over Zeta, and I think I'm going to take the Guard over Paper Rex, because I do believe in the Guard lower bracket run here that they can make something happen. Then these upper finals are very spicy indeed. They will go on the 17th. But very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit a like button. Tell us your YouTube gods this is a good video. I'd just like you should see it as well, and help grow the competitive Valorant community. Thank you for watching as always. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time.